The Batticaloa district in the eastern province of Sri Lanka boasts of serene, beautiful beaches and flat, year-round, shallow lagoons of warm water. It is an area that has experienced many traumas, including the decades-long war and the tsunami of 2004. It is difficult to measure the number of affected lives and quantify the destruction of property. The ruins in Batticaloa stand as testament to its dark past. The A5 road passes through Paduankare to the west of Batticaloa along natural springs, green fields, tanks and rich farmlands. Although it appears beautiful, the people here, who represent Sri Lanka's diverse ethnic groups, endured many hardships during the war and have struggled to get back on their feet in the post-war period. Sinhalese, Muslim and Tamil communities who lived peacefully together and shared bonds through trade and livelihoods were displaced during the conflict and lost not only their property and income but also their trust in each other. It has been a challenge to heal the trauma after the long war and to diffuse hatred between the communities.
We were like brothers, but around the 1980s, these conflicts began. Nobody comes to this side from the main road. No one goes to other villages. Many have been killed in this village.
I slept in the forest when I was pregnant with my eldest child. I was so scared.
The war took a heavy toll on the East. USAID was quick to respond in highly conflict-affected areas with interventions that wove together the physiological as well as the psychological needs of the affected people, with infrastructure development, empowerment through training and workshops, and strengthening bonds between different ethnic groups. One of USAID's key objectives was to create a sustainable transformation in conflict-affected communities, moving from a divided past in which people relied on themselves to a united future in which people would depend on each other. In partnership with the diverse communities in the area, USAID designed and developed activities that brought Pulumalai and Mangalagama villages separated by the conflict back together and helped to combine visions of the future with livelihood options and problem-solving skills. This was no easy task and began with physical connections between the two villages in the form of a road that ran between Pulumalai, which is mostly Tamil, and the predominantly Sinhalese Mangalagama. This road, although once an important access route for goods and services for both communities, became unusable during the conflict due to fear. Using locally available tools and techniques, USAID supported villages from Pulumalai and Mangalagama to renovate and repair sections of this 7-kilometer road. This significant intervention was designed not only to make traveling between the two villages easy, but also to re-establish the relationships all but destroyed by the conflict, which had a far-reaching consequence in the regional relationships between Tamils and Sinhalese. Today, the Sinhalese and Tamil villages hug each other with the warmth of brotherhood and affection.
We are very happy from the day they started building this road.
Sinhala and Tamil people are staying in harmony now. We were displaced before. USAID brought all of us back together.
On the first few days, we frowned at each other with anger. We worked together for about 4 months, and then we understood that these brothers and sisters have nothing to do with the conflict.
Sinhala and Tamil people lived separately. When we saw them, we got scared, and when they saw us, the Tamils, they got scared too.
When we worked, we lived as children of the same mother.
The rural people now have the technical knowledge required to maintain and repair their own roads and lanes. This street in Mangalagama, named Samagi, meaning unity, is a fine example of how a community trained in road renovation has been able to use their skills to repair other roads independent of donor support.
During the past period, people had many transport problems, but now it's not like that. The roads have been renovated.
The war is over now. We thank all the voluntary organizations and the government who helped to create peace and harmony between Sinhalese and Tamils. We consider it fortunate if a plan is set for us to live together forever.
Meeting health needs of rural communities was a major issue in the past. The people had mixed feelings towards Karadianaru Hospital, located near Pulumalai, which was known for past militancy. And during this time, it was very difficult for the government to support the hospital with staff and basic medical resources. It was such a challenging situation that victims of a blast in the Karadianaru police station in 2010, located less than 500 meters away, had to be taken to Batticaloa, a distance of more than 30 kilometers. USAID, in partnership with the US military and the government of Sri Lanka, recognizing the significance of the area and the need for the provision of essential healthcare services, constructed 3 new ward buildings and furnished the hospital with medical equipment.
Rebuilding the Karadianaru Hospital is very good for us. Now we can get the health facility we need from this hospital. Today only a patient with an emergency will be taken to the Batticaloa Hospital.
The shops around the hospital need to fulfill the needs of the patients and visitors, and this has resulted in the establishment of an economic zone around the hospital. The war has had a vast impact on education in the Batticaloa district. During the immediate post-war period, teachers were reluctant to travel a long distance to reach schools in isolated areas. The lack of resources was another major problem faced by school children, and their education was inconsistent. As a solution to these problems, USAID, in partnership with the Sri Lankan Departments of Education, Social Services and Health, initiated a special program with youth involvement to help children who had missed years of school return to full-time education. Batticaloa is a mixture of rich cultures with traditions and practices that go back many generations. During the conflict, people were displaced and were discouraged from practicing and being engaged in unique facets of their cultures. In order to promote cultural understanding and to help communities learn about similarities and differences between each other, USAID worked to revitalize regional folk art practices such as Nattukuttu, Karagam, Wazandankuttu and Pulikuttu in regional Tamil culture. And Rabang, Chamara and Tala dancing in eastern Sinhalese culture in such areas of Batticaloa. This was part of a strategy to rebuild lost cultural identities and promote reconciliation and understanding between and among different ethnic groups. This strategy was further evident through an activity which encouraged groups to share traditional food preparation techniques. Community members from Pulumalai, Mangalagama and Kerninagar, a predominantly Muslim village also in Batticaloa, exchanged cooking techniques and recipes during the road renovation, which helped the separated communities learn more about each other's practices and traditions.
மூன்று இனத்து சாப்பாட்டையும் மூன்று இனத்தையும் ஒன்றுபடுத்தி
They taught us the traditional food of each ethnic group. They took us to Mangalagama and educated us on various food prepared by different ethnicities.
நன்றி சொல்ல வேண்டிய வரும் USAID நிறுவனம். இப்போ நாங்கள் இது எல்லாம் எங்களுக்கு எப்போ தேவைப்படுதோ அப்போ சமைச்சு சாப்பிட்றோம். இப்போ இந்த சாப்பாடு எங்களுக்கு இப்போ விருப்பம்.
Today, it is no longer a surprise to see a Sinhala mother making vade or bundi and a Tamil or Muslim mother making halapa and lavaria. The A5 is extraordinary not just because it has a history which runs back to the British era. The goods from Batticaloa to the south and from Pullamalai to the estates were mainly transported on this road. Pullamalai village, a historically thriving area, reduced to ruins during the conflict, is undergoing a process of redevelopment today, increasing the needs of the people at the same time. USAID constructed a bus station to aid resettling families in the area in their transition, as well as a new market building which rekindles a century-long history of trade. People from several villages around the area have already gained many benefits from it, with critical leadership and input from the Rural Development Society members, which has ensured that the market meets the needs of the communities. This market building consists of 8 shops and 32 small stalls. The vocational training workshops targeting the unemployed youth were also great opportunities for the villagers. They were able to generate economic opportunities, and today most of them are engaged in self-employment. Focusing on young people who had left education behind due to the war and low-income families in Karadinaru and Kiran, USAID trained young men and women to engage in different fields of self-employment such as plumbing, electrical wiring and jewelry making. Young women from both areas have put their artistic talents to good use, making jewelry such as necklaces, rings and bangles using natural resources such as coconut shells.
USAID trained us to do this. We earn an income by selling these goods. A large group followed this course with us, and we learned about each other too. We have a great advantage here.
நாங்கள் மட்டும் இல்லை, எங்களோட நிறைய பேர் பழகினாங்க. அதனால் அவங்களை பற்றி நாங்கள் அறிஞ்சு கொண்டோம். எங்களுக்கு அந்த வெளி இடங்களுக்கெல்லாம் போய் அவங்களெல்லாம் பற்றி அறிஞ்சு கொண்டோம். அதனால் பெரிய நிறைய நன்மைகள் கிடைச்சிட்டு.
It was not easy to reunite groups of people who remained separated for so long and after so many traumatic experiences. With incredible courage, strength and support from the people of Pullamalai, Mangalagama and the surrounding areas, USAID was able to help communities overcome the challenges of a divided past and give new life and new hope to many conflict-affected people. Today, this success is evident in the genuine voices of the people of Batticaloa.